Hi and welcome to this week's edition of Bitrix24 Live. My name is Andy and I'm going to be here with you for the next hour answering any questions that you would like to know the answers for with regards to Bitrix24. So I'm the support manager here at Intraface. We are gold partners of Bitrix24. And we offer a whole range of different services. So if you're looking to implement Bitrix in your organization and you want to ensure that it's a good fit for your business, then we can arrange an online demonstration to guide you through the different tools that Bitrix has to offer. We also offer licensing, premium support, so chat, telephone, ticketing support, and we also offer installation services for the on-premise version of Bitrix. So we're located in the US, in the UK and in the UAE. I'll put our contact details up throughout this session, so you may want to get in touch with us after. This hour is to ask any questions, as I mentioned, about Bitrix24. Generally, I can't solve any errors that you may be receiving. You would probably need to go to Bitrix technical support for that. But I can show you any answers with regards to modules, processes, different areas inside Bitrix. So as I say, we're here for the next hour. We're here every Thursday at 10 AM Eastern Time on the Bitrix24 YouTube channel. Answering your questions. So if you do have any questions that come through to you during the week, please do send them to sales@Intraface. We generally start each session off with those particular questions to get us up and running. Hopefully you find them useful as well, because they give you an insight into maybe different areas that you've not used in Bitrix before. So I'll start off with regards to some of those questions. And I'm going to show you today the Bitrix24 cloud version of Bitrix, which is what you can see on the screen at the moment. And I'll also have an on-premise version as well. So whether you've got a question for the on-premise version of Bitrix or the cloud, I can switch between the two to be able to show you those answers. So let's start off then with regards to a few simple ones that we commonly get on here, and we also get via email quite a lot as well. And one of the ones that we had particularly as well this week was with regards to sales targets. So Bitrix is perfect if you want to set your sales team sales targets each month or each quarter or each half a year or year. It has a great tool for that. If you want to set sale targets, there is a little bit of background that you will need to know about Bitrix before. Is the sales targets will run from your deals. So your deals area inside the CRM in Bitrix is classed as your sales area. And when you win a deal, there's obviously going to be a value associated to your deal. So you can see in here we have a lot of opportunities in our on-premise pipeline. That's what I'm in at the moment. I can switch to the Kanban view as well, just to show a total figure at each particular stage. So you can see here we have $690,000 currently in our development stage, and then we've got $1,010 and $1,500 as we go along. Now, with sales targets, what they will count towards is when I would drag and drop into closed won, that will then count towards the person who was responsible for that deal's sales target. So that's important to know, because that's where the figures are being derived from. Your sales targets can be found if you go into your CRM analytics, you click on sales and then you click on sales plan. If you click on sales plan here, if you've got permissions to do so, then you will be able to see here that we can click on configure sales target, and we can do that on each month. So at the moment, if I switch to September, then I can specify a sales target 550,000. This one's got 5,500, and maybe we have 100,000 here. Click on save, and we can see in here, based on the number of closed and won deals, who is where in terms of the progress towards their sales target. So it's quite important. So Matt Smith here, you can see that he's completed $1,500 worth of sales. He currently got 98,500, therefore he's got a progress of 1%. How the company target works is it will generally add up all of the sales targets for each employee. So you can see in here, if we were to close out and win a particular deal with a high value, it would show us the progress for all sales members in general throughout September as well. You can do sales targets based on employee. You can do sales targets view based on pipeline. So we could set, I was in the Bitrix24 on-premise opportunities pipeline a moment ago, so we can actually set the sales targets on a pipeline by pipeline basis too, so that's really useful. And then finally, we can set it company-wide. So we can set a company-wide sales target here, and we can aim towards that. So everybody who's dealing with the deals inside Bitrix will have a cumulative target towards that sales target. So maybe if you don't have very many sales staff and it's just yourself, or you've just got 2 or 3 that don't track individual performances, then you would have a company-wide sales target to ensure that you're on the right path to generate your targeted sales. So it's a really good way of achieving that. So I've got a couple of highs on the chat. Please do put your questions through on the YouTube, and I can answer them as we go along. It's got, how do we return a request like a leave request back to the author after it was declined by an approver in the Bitrix24 workflow? So yeah, you certainly can return it. I guess the point of returning, what you would have to do is, depends what you want to happen when you return it. If you would like to return it to the author and have them refill out some specific information and then submit that again, then you could do that. I guess you can do one of either 2 ways. You can either return it false, declined, give them the reason why it's been declined, and then let them start the process again, which is the most common way. But if you want them to pre-fill out the information again, then we can have a look at our leave approval workflow. And then in here, so for those of you that don't know, Bitrix has its own workflow tool where you can request leave and areas such as that. And then if we click on configure workflows here, click on leave request workflow, we may have modified ours a little bit. So you can see here, for example, we submit the leave. So the author submits the leave here. The author is, you can use a created by, which I'll show you in a moment. And then it goes through to the approval. Now, if you want to return it to the person who's created it, then the best thing for you to do is, if you want them to fill in some information, you are probably going to want them to provide some additional information in here. So we can still set the status to rejected, that's fine. And on here, we will use the additional information action block. So what we can do here is the employees who need to provide additional information. If I was to click into these 3 dots, we can use author, or I tend to use created by. So that's the person who submitted the original request. And we could put your absence requests needs more information. Okay, so that's the title of the request that will come back to you, so you know what it's with regards to. So you could put your leave request for, and then we can use some of the form fields that you would have submitted. So start date to end date has been refused. Please resubmit the details below. And on here, what we can do is, you can see on this additional information action block, we actually can start building up a form to resubmit the details to. So I might want to, in this case, I'll just put 2 date fields. So I could put date, and we'll call that new start date, and we'll just give it an ID, new start date. So we can put that in here. We'll set that as required. Click save. So we have this new form field, and we'll just put new end date in here. New end. So it all depends on what you need them to provide, really. So new end date. Give that a date field here, and again we'll make that required. So click on save. So we'll have that on there. Assignment button, we'll just put resubmit. And then what we could do then is add another, probably won't want to do that. So what we would do is add another approval block. So we could click on here, click on in constructions, no, tasks, click on approve, and then what we could do, let's see who the first one goes to. What I'm going to do is send it to myself, so we can just run this just to see what it looks like. Max Smith, that's who I'm logged in as. And what we'll do here is just send it to Max Smith. So click in here, submitted leave, and then what we can do here is actually click into the 3 dots and click into variables, and now you can see we have new start date, and this is very brief, but new start date and new end date. So the fields that you use in the additional information action block can be then used in the new action block in here. So details. We can put, like I say, this is just a very simple process, so we can put it in here. And then we can use the set approved, set declined. So I could say in here, set approved, and then on here we can set declined. Approved equals rejected. Click save. Okay, so let's try that out. So we've now adjusted that. So again, for those of you that are quite new to requesting leave on Bitrix, you can click into here, click workflow, click leave approval. Office. We have a few additional fields in here. 21st to the 25th. Annual leave. And we might want to add a file. And then we can click send. So what that will do is that will get then sent to required property is, let me see if I can add another one. There we go. So you can see once I request leave, obviously I set the person who approves it to myself. You can see the 21st, 25th. The idea here is I'm going to deny it. But again, for those of you that are new to, somebody mentions the video quality is low. I think it might be the system that we're on. I think you can change the quality to the highest on YouTube on there. But those of you that are new to, again, if you get a request, it's going to come through your workflows. We'll get the latest request here, so you can see, we can click onto it, and then we can approve or reject it, or I can do it from the activity stream, which is what I'm going to do here. So I'll click on deny, and now what you can see is it's gone through to our additional information action block. So in here, you can see, if I click on start, that's going to take me through to requesting my new start date and new end date. So if I was to click on here, again, instead of having the 21st this time, I'll have the 28th, and then go to the 2nd. I can write a comment if I wanted to. And I only added 2 form fields here. You could add them all again. Click on resubmit. You can now see that it's gone again back to the approver with the new start date and new end date. So that's how you would do it. And then if I clicked on start now, I can approve, I can reject, and you could keep doing that. In fact, you could put a loop in there if it kept refusing. But if I click on accept, then my leave gets completed, get added to the absence chart, and you can do whatever you want then with a notification and things like that. So the additional information action block is really useful to prompt people to provide more information to submit. Is there a way to make a report and only that report is visible on a public web page? So on a public web page, if you mean outside of the Bitrix authentication, I'm guessing I'm guessing on the on-premise you possibly could do, because you have access on the on-premise version to obviously the database, and you could pull information from that database into a report that you would have to make yourself. There's no report tool inside Bitrix that would allow you to publish a report. So whether it's task reports, whether it's CRM reports, there's nothing inside Bitrix to allow you to publish a report on a public page, unfortunately. Yeah, there's not. I'm trying to think if there's any way you could do it on Bitrix24 sites, but even then, still, I don't think you would be able to watch it, just to view it, unfortunately. If we create a lot of reports on the on-premise version, just because we have, like I said, access to the database and the source code. So what we tend to do is we have a lot of them internally inside Bitrix, is that in our Bitrix system here at Interface, we have our own menu items linking to graphs, to reports that we've pulled data from the CRM for our sales, for our weighted opportunities and things like that. So if you're wanting to be a bit more flexible in terms of reporting, the on-premise version is a good tool for that. Can you please remind me how to create or modify an email template on the desk version? So, well, it's the same in either version of Bitrix, whether it's the cloud or the on-premise. If you're wanting to create a template for your CRM, so you can create email templates to send out from a lead, from a deal, from a contact or a company. It's quite straightforward. Every user can do this. So click on settings, then click on email. So this is once you're in the CRM, my apologies. So you click on settings, click on email, and then click on email template. And what you can do here is you can create templates to be used when you're emailing from a lead, from a deal, from a contact and a company. So if I click on here, and we will call it Bitrix we'll call it Christmas invite. A bit early, but we'll call it that. And we'll bind it to a lead. So that means that this template will only be accessible when you're trying to send this template from a lead. I wouldn't be able to see this inside a deal or a contact or a company. If you're wanting to create it for multiple, you'll have to duplicate them and bind them to the relevant ones. So in here, if I say you are invited to party, and then in here we can click hello, and then the three dots to the right hand side we can use some fields from the lead itself. So hello, first name, you are invited. I won't write it all. Thanks, Andy. And then you can also paste HTML templates in here. You can embed links. You can embed images. You can style it up however you wish in here. So we can change the font. Very straightforward and very simple to do so. So once you've created that template, if you want it to be only accessible to you, then it will be by default. If you want it to be accessible via everyone, then you click available to everyone. So if I click on save now and then close this down and go to a lead and then go into a lead, obviously has to have an email to be able to email them. So I click in here, click into email on the right hand side, and you'll be able to see now in template at the top, and you'll be able to see our Bitrix24 Christmas invite on here. So if I click on this now, you can see that everything automatically pre-populates. It actually pulls in the signature from the email that you've integrated inside Bitrix, which I'll show you in a moment how to do so. But it will put your signature in, it will pre-fill out everything. And this is really good if you are wanting to, especially use HTML templates all the time, to just send brief reminders to people or any offers that you may have. That's quite a good one to give to your sales team. You can get one of your marketing team to create an email template, create that email template inside Bitrix, and then they can use it in here. That's quite common. I see that quite often. But that's how you create email templates inside the CRM. Just to point out with regards to connecting up your email and your email signature, that's another one that we often get. You can go into your mailbox, click into edit signature, and you can see here we had that test too. So you can use, when you connect up your mail, you can use your email signature however you wish. We can put images in and things like that. So it's quite a useful tool to do. The other area that your email templates are going to be used is obviously in the CRM marketing tool. So if you're wanting to send an email out, go into My Templates, and it has a pre-built template builder that you can use in here. So you can see an example of a very simple template that we've created inside Bitrix, and then we can use that in the email campaign tool. So those are the two areas really for email templates. How can you map a network file system as a drive in Bitrix24 self-hosted? So if I go to the self-hosted version in Bitrix and then go into drive, I think if we click on company drive here, so you can map it to your company drive, or you can create a folder or a new drive itself. Click into here, click on network drive, and then it will give you the address to network your drive to there. I think there are some instructions on the Bitrix24 website. I'm on a Mac here at the moment. I think if you're on a Windows machine, it will give you the instructions as well on there. But yeah, that's how you network your drive on your local network to Bitrix. The other way to do it would be if you were to connect the desktop application up, you can sync your information from your local computer via the desktop application up into Bitrix, into a specific drive, and you can sync those together. So that's quite a good way of doing it as well. You've got a question. I tried to using companies to work on my projects listed on your systems. I hired 4 months ago and they didn't do anything. Who would guys recommend? And we recommend to use people that have real knowledge of Bitrix24. So yeah, I don't know who you've hired. Definitely not hired ourselves. So just to point out who we are, just going back to this, question. We are not Bitrix24. We're Intraface. We're a gold partner of Bitrix24. And we're located in the US, in the UK, and in the UAE. So if you do need any assistance, whether it's you're thinking about buying Bitrix or purchasing it or starting using it, get in touch with us. We've got a team that will be able to provide a demonstration for you to make sure it meets your requirements. If you're already using Bitrix, then we offer implementation and support. And if you need it customizing, again, we're here to help. So please do get in touch with us. We're here to help. So yeah, those are our contact details on there. So please keep your questions coming. Yeah, do get in touch with us, like I say. And if you do have any questions throughout the week, like I mentioned right at the start, we're here every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time for 1 hour. If you do have any questions in the week, drop them to either sales@intraface.com or andy@intraface.com. And we start the sessions off with the questions that come through to us in the week. And then, yeah, we go on to the questions that come through on the recording as well. So everything's recorded. So yeah, so my name is Andy. And I'm the support manager here at Intraface. So going back to some of the questions that we've received just about bulk updating in the CRM. Again, it's quite a common question that we get with regards to the content in your CRM and bulk updating it. Now, there's a number of ways that you can do this, and it all depends on what you want to bulk update. So a common one is bulk updating the responsible person. You are going to need to do this if somebody leaves your organization and maybe you have a lot of leads that need switching over for the responsible person. So let's say, for example, in our case, Joe Smith here on our leads has left the organization. Now, when somebody is dismissed from Bitrix24 CRM, they're not deleted. If you can imagine if they got deleted, it would leave a lot of empty blank holes inside Bitrix. So instead, they become inactive and they get denied access to your system. And the content that they've created previously does remain, because it's obviously quite useful to have communications with one another with no holes in it. But there are things like, say, for example, leads that get still assigned to that person who's been dismissed. What we recommend doing in that case is finding the user that's been dismissed, so Joe Smith, creating a filter to find out all the leads that Joe Smith is responsible for, selecting it at the top, and then in here we can assign the responsible person. So we might want to then assign them to David. And that's how you would bulk update that particular content. If you want to do other bulk updates, I mean, you can bulk update rather than having to click into each individual lead. You can bulk update just by going down one by one in specific fields if you wanted to. You can also bulk update via importing. So if we click on the little gear icon in the top of anything, so leads, deals, contacts and companies, we can click on import. And when we do that import, approximately the third stage of the import, it's going to ask you what duplicate control that you want to use. And you can merge. So any fields that are empty, when you merge, you can then update those empty fields. If you want to update fields that already exist on an existing contact, so maybe everybody is assigned, I don't know, the lead source of Facebook. If you wanted to update all those leads from Facebook to Instagram, then what you would need to do is you would need to do an export, and then you would need to do an import. And instead of merge or allow duplicates, you would just replace, and then that would replace that particular data in that thing, in that particular lead. So that can be quite useful at times. Question, can you do a Zoom meeting with us? Yeah, absolutely. So we can do demonstrations on whichever your preferred method of contact is. It'd be one of the team here that would have a call with you. They just want to know what it is that you're interested in, what it is that you need help on, and then that can be arranged. Absolutely. So please keep your questions coming. One of the questions that we also get and also came in recently is with regards to what's the best way of creating mailing lists inside Bitrix. So again, for those of you that are fairly new to Bitrix, is you have the ability to create mailing lists that you can then use the CRM marketing tool to bulk send email campaigns out to, or bulk send SMS campaigns out to you. And my preference personally is going into either a lead or a contact or a company, using the filter to find out the specific types of people that I want to send a campaign to. And once you've created that, again, just click on the checkbox to select them all, and then click on Add to Segment. And a segment in Bitrix is a mailing list or an SMS list or whatever type of campaign that you're creating. So if you're familiar with MailChimp, then a list in MailChimp is exactly the same as a segment in Bitrix. So if you click on Add to Segment, and then I will click on Apply, you can see in the top right hand corner we now have a new lead segment, September 10th. So if I go into the CRM marketing, click on Segments, and then we'll be able to see here our lead segment, September 10th. So I can now, what I can do is, let's just say we go back to our Christmas invite. So we'll say Christmas invite list. And we can see that it's got 11 recipients. It hasn't actually got 11 physical separate individuals. What Bitrix does is it counts the amount of emails and the amount of phone numbers. They might be the same contact, but what it gives you then is clear sight of if this mailing list or if this segment can be used not only for email campaigns, but it can be used for the likes of SMS messages too. Because obviously you can't create an SMS campaign to a segment that hasn't got any phone numbers attached to it. So that's why Bitrix do it, and that's why Bitrix highlight the number of emails and the number of phone numbers. So if we click on to campaigns, what we can do then is we can quickly and easily create a new email campaign. We can use one of the predefined templates that Bitrix comes with, which is here, or we can use one of the pre-built ones that we have created ourselves, so the Halloween one, and then we can select the segment. So if I click on my segments here, you can see the Christmas invite list. And that will then tell us the true amount of recipients that this email campaign will be received by. In this case, it's going to be 5. And then we can put the subject, we can tweak the email, and then we can prioritize it, send a test, and then we have the option whether we want to send it now, schedule it for a later date, or send it when you are ready to send it. So you can pause it until it appears in your campaigns list. and you can see we'll have this green button called Send Now. So that is quite useful, hopefully to you if you're using the CRM marketing tool. It's a great integrated tool. My company sells products, but they are services rendered. Is it possible to activate the workflows related to requested products as soon as I register a contract in a deal? So, yeah, the automation won't be triggered based on a product that you add on your deals. So you would have to do it another way. You would have to do it in terms of creating a custom field and specifying what type of deal this is. That's the only way of doing it, I think, because at the moment you can't use a condition to check what product has been created, especially on the cloud. You can't. It might be with a little bit of code that you could check what products are on a deal and then trigger a process that way. But if you're using the cloud, then what you would have to do is you would have to either have a custom field that said this is a deal for product type A, product type B, or you don't have to have a custom field. You could use the deal type field. So if I clicked on settings here, on the start point, clicked on statuses and drop downs, and then clicked into deal type, it might be that we had, like say, product type A, and then in here, product type B. So we would give a deal a category of product essentially. And then what we could do in our deal automation is, in this particular pipeline maybe, is we could add an automation rule for every deal that gets added. Let's just send a notification in our case. We could send an email to the customer, or I don't think you've mentioned what you'd like, but I could say let's just send a notification, product type A. But this is the important part here, the condition. So what I could do is have a look at deal type. And if that deal type field equals product type A, then we will send this notification. Okay. We'll label it just so we know product type A. And obviously you could create a task for this. I'm just showing you what it would look like for just a simple notification, because I can run it and I'll show you what it looks like. So we could say this one is going to be product type B. Click on change and we'll just have it on here, product type B. So as I say, this is literally just a notification that's going to send out based on the value of that particular field. So if I create a new deal and test notification, the important one is that we need to select the deal type. So if I said this is going to be product type A, if I click on save, what I should get hopefully is a notification. Oh, I get two notifications on here. I get product type A and product type B. Let me just double check. I think it's because I don't know if I changed it. Yeah, I didn't change it. So here we go, product type B. Let's try that again. So we've got by condition, type equals product type B, type equals product type A. So that's why we got two. So let's just try that again, and we'll move it into here, and then we'll move it back, and then you should be able to see we get one notification. And like I say, a notification is just to show you visually what it does on here. It's not going to be too much use, but if I move this into product type B and then move it back, you'll get another notification that says product type B. So you can do conditions on any field other than products. So I know you've mentioned products, but I tried to see if I could find a workaround in terms of having a field. But these conditions are pretty powerful. It's just a shame at the minute they don't have products in here. You can do it associated contacts and companies and things like that, but no products. In the on-premise version, it's a little bit different, because what we have on the on-premise version, and we have done this previously before, is if we were to go into the deals on an on-premise version and click into automation rules, and you can do this part on a cloud as well, as long as you've got a standard or a professional. If you go into edit in workflow designer, this gives you the background tool that's running. And again, you can do this on a cloud or an on-premise, but this next bit is only an on-premise. And what you can do is you can use this PHP code block. So this is only available on an on-premise version. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to get the products that are associated to the deal and store those products in variables. So then you could do a condition against that product that's associated to that deal. That's the difference and the flexibility that the on-premise gives you. So if it is something that's vitally important to you, that you want to see, if you added a product to a deal and you want to get that, then this is the way to do it. Can Bitrix24 be used for a warehouse inventory system, since it already has a warehouse feature for stores? It's quite, yeah, I think it needs, no, I would say if you're using the CRM, not at the moment. I think it would need a little bit of customization. If you're using the stores and the e-commerce store, then you can, when somebody buys something on your e-commerce store, then that can take it out of the stock level, the inventory level. But if you're using the like deals and putting products on via that method, then it doesn't have that inventory level. What you would need to do is, and we've done this previously again, and it's sort of going back to the on-premise version of Bitrix, with you can use when somebody puts a deal on and it has products associated to that deal. What we could do is we could have a list. So a list in Bitrix, there's a module called lists. I'm not 100% sure where it is on our version here. So if we go into our, so I think this is a list on ours. Let me have a look. Yeah. So we've done inventory before on a list. So so if somebody purchases a product that's on and assigned to a deal, then we knock one off, or whatever the quantity that person has ordered off this list. So we have an inventory list here. You couldn't do that on a cloud version of Bitrix, unfortunately. You could do it on an on-premise with a bit of customization. It's not too much. You probably would need a partner to help you connect the two together. But yeah, other than that, not at the moment. I think it will come into Bitrix. Like I say, it's there in the e-commerce aspect of Bitrix, but not in the CRM at the moment. Pleased that you're finding it useful. Yeah, like I say, so we're here every Thursday at 10 AM Eastern Time. It is like an hour free support. I know, obviously, Bitrix24 has live chat support. If you're on a commercial package, they will help you. Sometimes this is easier to show you any questions that you may have, because, like I said, I can show you in either system, and hopefully you do find it useful to see it happening on the screen. If you do have questions in the week, I know I've said it before, do send them over to us. We're more than happy to collect as many questions as we can. These sessions are recorded as well, so they will always go onto the Bitrix24 YouTube channel. So if you've asked a question in the week and you don't manage to catch it on Thursday, you can always pop on an hour or two after these sessions end, and it will be there available for you on the Bitrix24 YouTube channel, so it's quite handy to look back on if you've missed a particular session that you know that you've asked a question about. Got a question here. Can you explain how the extranet site works? So an extranet on Bitrix, and you do need a commercial package for this. I don't know where I'm trying to think where the extranet package starts on Bitrix. I do believe it's the standard version of Bitrix. I would need to double check that. But what the extranet gives you the ability to do is it gives you the ability to invite external users into Bitrix. And those external users might be clients, they might be freelancers that you work with, that you're working on a particular project with, people that you outsource work to in general. So external users. One thing to point out with an extranet is that if you do invite an external user into the system, they will never see anything other than the external work group that you invite them into. So they won't see the CRM, they won't see your calendars, they won't see anything that your intranet, so your Bitrix system, contains. They will only see the external work group that you invite them into. So if I was to click on create, just a brief note about this, you can create an external work group or you can create an external project. The main difference being is that on a project you can have a start and end date, and the tasks are the main focus on an external project. External work groups are really you can still create tasks in them, you can still create a task Kanban and things like that, but they're used for collaborative, so more focused towards communication and calendars and things like that. But essentially they are the same. The main difference is that the project has a start and end date. So you can create them. So if I can maybe say freelance, create freelancer. If I wanted to add an existing Andy in here, he's an extranet user that's already on the system. If the extranet user doesn't already exist, you can put an email in here and fire an email out to them. And it has, the good thing about inviting an external user in is you can use a lot of the features inside this particular group. And another point to point out with external users is you have an unlimited amount. So you could invite 1 million extranet users in if you wanted to. There's no user limit on external users. So that's quite handy to know, especially if you're on an on-premise. On-premise versions are very user license based, so they go from CRM, which is 12, business 50, business 100, 250, 500, 1000, but external users are unlimited. And once we create that group, it will create this external group. It will invite our users that we've invited to them. They'll receive a notification, and then this is the tools, essentially what you get inside a work group. So everything in this particular group, just think of it as a little social hub inside Bitrix itself. Nobody that's not invited to this, so it's people that aren't invited to this work group will not know that it exists. So it's really useful because only the people who are involved in whatever group that it is will be able to communicate to one another, see the tasks, see the calendar, chat to one another using the chat, and also see the documents as well. If you go to the extranet, it can look very different. You can style it up with a different background. You can see this particular user is a member of these particular extranet groups on here. So it is a really useful tool to have. If you've got an on-premise version, you can do a little bit more with it. So with the extranet side of things, I think our extranet on our demo is extranet on here. But you can see on the right hand side of our screen that we have banners. So you can put banners on there if you wish. We can style it up a little bit differently to the cloud version. Again, primarily because we have the source code on an on-premise. You can have it an extranet on a different domain name on an on-premise too, and you can have login screens as well. So if I was to log out of this, you can see that we've got a different login screen compared to what the normal Bitrix screen looks like. I just jumped on. If I want to set my calendar to Eastern Standard Time, what would I set the settings to? So if I jump into, so there's a couple of places where you can set your time zone. Two places, and I would definitely double check, is you can set your time zone in your profile. So go to your profile in here, click on edit, and you can see here all of the time zones that we have. So find your, if you're setting it to Eastern Standard Time, EST, it's New York time. So I can set it to New York on here. There is also a setting in the calendars, I do believe, as well. So if we go into the calendar, and I think it's going to be in the gear icon here. And there we go, your time zone at the top. So there's two areas that you should be setting your time. For your calendar, it is this particular one on here. So those are your two different areas. Whilst we're in calendars again, we get a common question just about syncing. You can sync your calendars up. So whether you've got Google Calendar, Outlook, your iCalendar on your phone, you can sync all those up inside Bitrix. So we only have a few minutes left. If you've got any questions, further questions, do please ask. I think I may have. I've got a couple of questions just about. They've not come through on this session, but we do get asked them quite a lot. A lot of people have WordPress sites. So if your site is built on WordPress, then you really should take advantage of linking your website to Bitrix. Now, I know Bitrix has Bitrix24 sites, so that's the other option. You can obviously create your website now in using the sites module. But if you've got a pre-built site that you're not wanting to move, and the common one that we get asked about is WordPress, then there are things that you can do to connect the two sites together. So your inquiries coming in from your WordPress site through to getting them inside Bitrix. So just to end on, if there's no additional questions that come through, is have a look at the tools that Bitrix offers. They have CRM forms. So the CRM forms is at the top. So you can create inquiry forms quite easily and quite quickly. Check out our CRM webinar. That's quite a useful one to take a look at. Just go into CRM forms a little bit more. But you can click on add new form. You can create forms using the fields in leads. And then all you need to do is you need to get the embed code. And if you've got a WordPress site, like I mentioned, and it's a common one that comes through, is get one of the snippet tools. I think there's one called, I think it's by XYZ. I think the plugin creator is that. And it's a snippet tool. And what you can do is you can create a snippet, paste this into the snippet, and then use a shortcode to wherever you want this form. Because sometimes WordPress does not allow you, depending on what plugins that you've got, to paste this directly into a page. So use the snippet tool to do so. The other areas that you can use, obviously you try and use live chat if you can. So we've got a website, obviously. If we go to www.intraface.com, then we'll be able to see here, we have a cookies hiding it at the moment, but you'll be able to see here using the widgets. So always try and have a live chat widget on your site. You might not be able to see it on my screen. I might just need to move my screen here. Let me move me to the other side. So on here, you can see we have a live chat widget. And it's definitely good for you to have this. It increases inquiries. More and more people obviously don't want to speak over the phone or to person, and having this widget on your site is a pretty powerful tool. It's free to use, and one of the good things to do with this is that I can speak to one of the team here. That will then generate a lead inside Bitrix, and you can start working from that particular lead based on the inquiries that come through to your site. Now, to do that, it's 2 simple steps really. All you need to do is go to your contact center and then enable live chat. Once you enable live chat in here, we can click on live chat. I can click in here, click on configure, and then I can specify the queue, and I can specify a whole range of different details. So creating leads, whether it's work time, agreements, auto actions, quality assessment, everything that we want to know about people chatting with you on your site. The queue is obviously the important one, so you can specify who answers that particular chat. Now, once you've configured that, all you need to do then is you can do it from here, but let me go to the CRM. I tend to do it this way. Go to your more. It generally will be under the More section on the right hand side. Click on Website Widget here, and then click on Create Widget. Now what you're doing here is creating the widget that's going to sit on your site. So you can see on our Intraface site we've got the little chat widget, and I can say, let's call it Intraface Widget. And on here, the open channel. So I want to select, if you've configured it and made it active, you'll be able to see it in here, no problem whatsoever. You can specify additional parameters on here. You can also specify if you want a form to appear, because what this icon will do in the bottom right hand corner, it will switch from the chat through to a form, and then what it also allows you to do is have a callback form. So if you have telephony connected up inside Bitrix, you can also have somebody fill out the form, put their telephone number in, and have Bitrix automatically dial it back once they've submitted it as well. So you can have all these different settings. They're quite straightforward to follow. You can tailor what the pop-up looks like and when it displays on your website. Click on Save, and then going back to the WordPress element, so you can see here we have the new interface widget that I've just created. And going back to the WordPress element, all you need to do is click on Embed Code, click on Copy to Clipboard, and then you just need to paste it into the footer template on your WordPress site. If you've got a normal HTML site, just paste it into the footer of your HTML site. The thing is with WordPress, that footer is carried on through, the footer template is used on every page. So it just makes sure that your widget is displaying on every page on your site. And then therefore you will then have a live chat widget that generates leads, and it really does, it really helps to direct them through. So if I was to chat in here, this chat would then come through our open channel widget in the top right hand corner. So you don't have to leave Bitrix if you're in it on a daily basis from all day, which is we are here. You can see this is what it would look like. So it would come through, it would pop up to the people in the queue, and you can then see have a one-to-one chat directly from your website. So it's quite a good way. Just wanted to end on that because these tools are free. They are useful to generate leads. So I think we've come to the end of this particular hour of the live session. As I mentioned a few times during today, we're here every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you subscribe to the Bitrix24 YouTube channel, you will get notified when we go live. So it does vary who's on it. I'll be on it. Sometimes Danielle, Damien and Sam are on it too. But do get in touch with us if you are interested in getting Bitrix for your company, or if you already have it and maybe struggling it in some areas, we can certainly assist with that. Those are our contact details on the form, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you very much for your time today.